People often say that America should just move on from slavery, that America should start fresh, but what does starting fresh actually mean? Yeah, the country has changed. There's more legal equality, more tolerance, less open violence, but one thing has barely changed at all: the wealth gap between black and white Americans. The descendants of the enslaved were emancipated with no land, no capital, and no compensation, and then pushed into systems like sharecropping that recreated economic dependence. In the 20th century, African Americans, as you know, were largely excluded from many wealth-building programs that built the white American middle class, like New Deal labor protections that excluded many agricultural and domestic workers who were largely African American then, to housing policies like redlining, to discriminatory access to mortgages, higher education, and employment. Property owned by black Americans was seized and destroyed, while households accumulated wealth through home ownership and inheritance. Over generations, those differences compounded, and that's why economists increasingly frame reparations not as punishment for the past, but as a measurable economic repair. Scholars like William Darity Jr. are experts on this. The median white household today, he calculates, has roughly 6 to 8 times the wealth of the median black household. If you close that gap, Darity argues, you're looking at a transfer of roughly $10 to $12 trillion. Yeah, that number sounds enormous unless you put it into context. It's about half the US's annual GDP, and if it's spread across a generation, it becomes far more imaginable. And unlike overseas spending or foreign aid, that money would be spent inside the American economy. In other words, it wouldn't be a transfer. It would be one of the largest domestic economic stimuli in US history. The argument from many reparations scholars is simple. If the racial wealth gap is the most measurable legacy of slavery and segregation, then the most direct repair is to close that gap itself.